Welcome to a brand new week here on TNT. Thank you very much for dropping in as we whip around some of the main news stories from around Thailand. Now, at the end of this program, we do have another look. Pattaya Mail once again chipping in with it might be a bit of a workaround for people who are going to be impacted by this new tax. Well, it's not a new taxation, but an enforcement of foreign income taxation coming into Thailand that will affect some people. It won't affect all, but we'll have a look at that story at the end of the program. But before then, has the world caved in on this first weekend that we've had 4 a.m. closing? Well, apparently not. Bangkok Post reports zones for night spot 4 a.m. closing time can expand, according to the Interior Minister. Let's just have a look at what he's wearing there. So a fairly young-looking T-shirt, accessorised by a Louis Vuitton bag. Maybe the minister needs to start dressing his age. You don't want to be that age and dressing like a 25-year-old. Anyway, let's move on. What did he say? The Interior Minister said that he was ready to consider expanding the zones where entertainment places can operate until 4 a.m. in order to boost the economy. And he was visiting Khao San Road on Saturday night, so nowhere near the 4 a.m. closing times the following morning. During the tour, Mr. Anutin said operators were complying well with measures to ensure that public safety was not jeopardised by the later closing time. Now, of course, Khao San Road at the moment is not included in the official 4 a.m. closing times. I'm sure some of them probably stay open till that time anyway, but it's not official. Well, yet anyway. And he says operators promise not to sell alcohol to heavily drunk customers. There must be no narcotics, weapons, drink driving, or visits by young people aged under 20. And asked if the government will expand the zones for entertainment places with extended operating hours, Mr. Anutin said, "We're ready to support whatever will boost the economy. The operating hours until 4 a.m. increases money in circulation, employment, and even the income of taxi drivers." And checking around the country, in Phuket, the provincial governor said operators and visitors at entertainment places were observing regulations well. 95% of the visitors to the places were foreigners. Pretty much around Phuket, you could say that 95% of the people in Phuket at the moment are foreigners. And meanwhile, the Deputy Director of the Centre of Alcohol Studies said that the government had not heeded calls to postpone the operating hours extension, despite the fact that studies had found that sexual harassment, crime, physical assault, fights and property damage appeared to occur during periods when alcohol was consumed and sold. And then he said before the end of the year, the government must show that traffic accidents have not risen since operating hours were extended. Well, he's not going to have to wait until the end of the year. Let's head to this story from nationthailand.com. Foreign tourists arrested over alleged fatal drink driving in Chiang Mai. And a foreign tourist was arrested early on Saturday for allegedly killing a worker and severely injuring 2 others in a case of drunk driving after leaving a pub in Chiang Mai. And the Ghanaian tourist was 26 years old. His blood alcohol level was 1.21 milligrams, and that's compared to the legal limit of 50 milligrams, so 2 and a bit times the legal driving limit. And police said the accident was reported to the Lana Chiang Mai Foundation at 3:55 a.m, well, just 5 minutes before the new official closing time on Saturday. And the foundation dispatched its rescue team. They found a Laotian worker dead and 2 others severely injured. And the workers were moving communications cables underground when the speeding car allegedly driven by the man hit them. He was visiting Chiang Mai for 2 weeks. He reportedly said he didn't see the workers on the road and accidentally hit them. The tourist was charged with drunk driving, reckless driving causing death and injuries, and driving without a licence. Saturday was the first morning in Chiang Mai of entertainment places being allowed to stay open until 4 a.m. Chiang Mai is among 5 pilot provinces where pubs can stay open until 4 a.m. The 4 others are parts of Bangkok, parts of Phuket, Chonburi, which of course includes Pattaya, and Suratani, but that's only on the island of Koh Samui. So spotlight on these new closing times. My bet is things will probably go okay despite these rare occurrences. hours, and maybe I think we'll see the 4 a.m. official closing time extended to other parts of Thailand. Welcome to our Monday TNT. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. That does so much to help us here on the channel. Now, we're staying up in the north of Thailand. This story from nationthailand.com. And 15 alleged drug couriers found dead at Chiang Mai border after gunfight with troops. So this is right up the very, very north of Thailand, and as many as 15 bodies of suspected drug couriers were found at the border of Chiang Mai's Mae Pha Luang district on Sunday. It's believed the so-called couriers were killed in a gun battle with troops on Saturday night, that's 7 p.m. on Saturday night. When the troops called on them to stop and show their identification documents, they opened fire. The soldiers fired back, and the two sides engaged in a gunfight for about 5 minutes. Then troops headed there the next day to check the site at about 11 a.m. This is on Sunday. The troops found 10 bodies, and upon combing the area for the next couple of hours, they found another 5 bodies. Now, they also found more than 13 backpacks in the area, though they've yet to see what's in the bags. I'm pretty sure they had a quick look and a peek. Now, a story we haven't really heard much of the last few months. I'm sure a lot of you have heard enough about it over the past 3 years or so. But Thai PBS World reporting uptick in COVID-19 infections is seasonal, will drop in February. So there have been reports over the past month or so of an uptick in cases here in Thailand, some of them serious and in particular hospitals. But as this story says, the situation is probably seasonal, and the current increase in COVID-19 infections is seasonal, like other respiratory diseases, and will continue until the end of January. And that's according to Dr. Yongpul Vorawan, the head of the Centre of Excellence in Clinical Virology at the Faculty of Medicine for the Chulalongkorn University. He added that a new wave of infections will begin in June and last until September. He says, like many respiratory conditions such as flu, COVID tends to peak during the rainy season. COVID-19 infections are entering their 4th year, and he says the severity of the disease has declined substantially. Even though the virus continues to mutate, the symptoms are less serious, except for those suffering from underlying diseases. And he says these people should take special care, including the wearing of face masks and regular hand washing, according to the doctor. Heading to another story now, nationthailand.com saying PM2.5 pollution top issue of concern for most Thai, according to a survey. And the key question of whether they were worried about PM2.5, the response was, nearly 49% said they're rather worried. Another 41.5% they were very worried. 8% said they're not too worried, and just over 1% said they're not worried at all. Then it says that 74.5% of the respondents believe the government is capable of tackling the PM2.5 issue, while 24.5% believe the authorities can solve it. Well, that doesn't quite make sense. It's either got to read 75% of the respondents believe the government isn't capable, or 25.5% believe the authorities can't solve it. So I can't give you an answer on that one. Take your own guess. When asked what they think causes PM2.5 pollution, 79% burning of farm waste and forest fires, 70% said factories, 68% said construction, and we note the respondents were allowed to choose more than one answer. And then when asked why they believe it's difficult to tackle the issue of PM2.5, the respondents said, nearly 83%, forest fires and burning of farm residue occur every year. 69% said humans and nature are to blame for PM2.5. Apart from humans and nature, I'm not sure who else they could blame. And then 66% said there are always ongoing construction projects. So that does give us a bit of an insight into what's going through Thai people's minds when it comes to PM2.5 and the air pollution and smoke as we enter the burning season. Let's just very quickly check the situation today from iqair.com. Looks a whole lot better than it was earlier last week. The circle there is Bangkok, where it's mostly yellow and green. And checking the fire maps from NASA, and we can see just, I suppose, a concentration of fires to the north of Bangkok. also there in southern Myanmar, and some fires there in Cambodia as well, to the east of Bangkok. So we'll see what happens this week. They are predicting a return of smoke and air pollution to the capital, but there has been a solution or a possible culprit found, and this is reported in Thai PBS World. The capital's governor wants to reduce smoke emitted from grilled pork stalls. Aha, it's the grilled pork. And the Bangkok governor says he would like the Environment Department to develop a device to trap smoke from the cooking of grilled pork skewers after receiving many complaints about excessive smoke emitting from grilled pork stalls. The government's disclosed what he described as interesting findings from 2 air quality measurement stations in the Bang Na area, which are close to a shopping mall where vendors are selling grilled pork. And here's all of us thinking that it was sugarcane and corn plantations. It's the pig's fault. And then further down he said the investigation was not, however, intended to stop the vendors from selling grilled pork, but in the hope that something can be done to reduce the PM 2.5 dust they produce. And that story finishes by saying the public is advised to spend less time outdoors and to wear face masks. I think one way or the other, be it warnings about COVID-19 resurgence or PM 2.5, we're just going to see more Thai people wearing face masks in the capital, whether we like it or not. Well, there's been a huge resurgence of property sales around Thailand over the past year or so. Let's see where it's all happening. And foreigners already own, nearly 11,000 condo units in Thailand this year. And the story, by the way, reported by calsoddenglish.com. And the acting director of the Real Estate Information Centre said that in the third quarter of 2023, the number of condos transferred to foreigners was 3,365. That's an increase of 0.4%. Doesn't sound like too much, but let's have a look at the rest of this year. And this brings the total for the first 9 months to nearly 11,000 units, an increase of 37.6% compared to the same period last year. And the percentage of condominiums purchased by foreigners as a percentage of total condominium purchases also increased by 13.6%. If you look at the actual value, it's 23%. And the location with the most condominium ownership transfers by foreigners, that's this year, was Chonburi province at 41.7%. And Chonburi has surpassed Bangkok, which has now fallen to second place with 37.5% of the sales, and Phuket a long way back in third with 6.4%. And a lot of those condos in Chonburi, of course, in the Pattaya area. Chinese nationals continue to be the leading nationality, some 46.6%. I mean, totally dominating the condo sales. Russians in second place with 9%, Americans with 3.9%, Taiwan with 3.5%, France fifth with 3.5%. So the next question is what these Chinese people are going to be doing with these condo purchases. My bet is that a lot of them will come onto the rental market, flooding the Thai rental market in condos. And thanks to everybody who joined in on our Saturday morning live program. Appreciated your getting up so early, 9 a.m. Thai time. We also had our Sunday morning Grumpy Old Men, so thanks for those people who have enjoyed and commented on that program as well. Now, this ongoing story of foreigners bringing income into Thailand, exactly who it's going to affect, covered fairly well, I must say, by pattayamail.com. This is another one of their stories, and it says Thai income tax worries spark interest in 10-year visa. So I think we are going to see, as people work out how much it's going to affect them, and every single person is going to have a different version of how it may or may not affect them. I think everybody's thinking it's just going to affect all foreigners. That's not the case. So we really need to wait until there's some details to hash out, and some of you will need to get some advice. But already there's one little loophole, but it's not for everybody. And concerns about the Thai revenue's intention to tax foreign income from January 2024 has created a new market for Thailand's long-term resident visa. Well, I have to say, so far, the LTR has been a spectacular failure as far as attracting many, but then again, its qualifications are set quite high. It says that those who obtain the 10-year LTR long-term resident visa are exempted from paying personal income tax on foreign assets or earnings. The Board of Investment, which controls the LTR, says about 3,000 such visas were issued since the launch in 2022. The LTR has several categories, including wealthy pensioners, rich global citizens, businessmen and entrepreneurs. The one-time application fee is 50,000 baht, but it's also necessary to invest substantially in Thailand or, in the case of retirees, to have annual income of at least $80,000. And the LTR regulations are complex. There is compulsory medical insurance. Businessmen are entitled to have a work permit without the usual stipulation of needing to have Thai workers. And a tax consultant in Bangkok said the LTR is beyond the financial reach of most expats. So don't suddenly rush out and apply for the LTR. You better check the qualifications first. The new tax regulations are still vague on many details. The tax consultant says the intention is to haul in major tax fiddlers who have benefited from official laxity in the past and not, I think, typical expats who are retired here or supporting Thai spouses or families. So the article penned by Barry Kenyon, and I think we're going to see more of these, I could do this rather than that, when it comes to getting around parts of this new tax policy. But as I repeat, it's not going to affect everybody. It will affect some people, and they will, as I suggested, need to get some advice. But don't panic until we get a few more details. I don't know when they're going to emerge because we've only got a few weeks until these changes do come into effect. But with that, I thank you very much for watching today. Hopefully you're a bit more up to date with things happening around Thailand. Please subscribe to the channel. Otherwise, we look forward to seeing you again tomorrow.